And we got a big one right here. We got a good one. Off-duty cop opens fire on black neighbor through apartment door. Yeah. Texas cop shoots black neighbor, mistaking him for an intruder. Oh, man. Boy, I swear cops get stupid by the day, don't they?
A Texas cop
Yep.
shoots a man through the door of his home. He lives in an apartment complex, basically, and says somebody was trying to break in. The facility released a statement saying, no, this was his neighbor. His neighbor may have been confused, but was not trying to break in. Let's go to it.
My name is Yasser Bashir, Assistant Chief of the Houston Police Department. With me, I have Commander Reed, and she is the commander of our downtown division. At the moment, we are in the 500 block of Crawford in downtown Houston, involving an officer-involved shooting. The officer was not an HPD, but he was a DPS trooper. Currently, this is the facts I have gathered so far, is that trooper believed that a suspect was trying to break into the apartment. He discharged his weapon one time and struck the suspect on the right shoulder. We were able to locate that suspect, provide medical attention, and he was transported to the local hospital where he's expected to survive. So that's the initial, the facts I have gathered. So here's what I'm going to provide you more details of what happened. Approximately after midnight, HPD, we received a shooting in progress call in the 500 block of Crawford, the building right behind us. When our officer arrived, they talked to the trooper, and they learned that someone was trying to break into the apartment. The trooper was off duty at that time, and he discharged his weapon one time toward the suspect. The suspect was struck, and he left the apartment. And when our officer arrived, they were able to locate him short moments later, and he was bleeding. So the officers provided medical attention. They applied to and he will be questioned later on about this incident. The suspect, he does live in the same building as the trooper. We don't know why he went to the apartment, but the initial assessment, the trooper believed that he was trying to break in. The suspect is a black male in his 30s. And right now, we also have Texas Rangers at the scene, and they will be conducting a parallel investigation. And our HPD SI unit will be the primary investigative unit for this shooting. Our crime scenes are out here as well, and they'll be processing the scene. So at the moment, that's the facts I've gathered so far.
First of all, Assistant Chief, those are not facts, sir. They are questions, not facts. You're representing them as such. There's more. Here it is.
Do you have any questions?
What floor did this take place on?
It took place on the 5th floor.
Did the suspect actually make entry into the trooper's apartment or forced entry?
No. At this moment, we're still looking into that to see if there's any forced entry or not.
So did the trooper engage the person directly in front of them or through a door, or do we have any details on the nature of how that transpired?
The suspect, we believe, is trying to get into the apartment, and the trooper did give several commands to him to get away, and he believed that he was going to make entry. So that's something we are looking into further.
So does that mean he shot him through the door?
Yes.
Is the trooper okay?
The trooper is fine, but like I said, that's something we are looking into more. Why you believe that? Yes, the trooper does live on the premises.
Was there anyone else in the apartment, in the trooper's apartment?
No, there was nobody else. As I mentioned earlier, we're still in the early stages. We're gonna get more details of what took place.
Did any stray bullets enter nearby apartments?
No. We looked at that. We didn't see any evidence of that.
Any other questions? Chief, thank you.
And is there any reason to believe that maybe this person was disoriented, maybe, or something, confused, or something like that? Maybe.
That's going to be part of the investigation. We are going to look into that. Like I said, we are still in the early stages.
Horrible. Let me first highlight a few dynamics
Can we say it smells like bullshit? What do you think?
that must be discussed. They literally provided a narrative in defense of the shooter. Reporters had to probe. You heard the shock in the voice of one reporter when he said he shot him through the door? Yes, he shot him through the door, which means what? There is no established imminent threat. That could have been a 10-year-old kid.
Yep, exactly.
That could have been an elderly person who simply made a mistake.
Made a mistake. Or it could have been a mother of 3 next door.
Could have been a disoriented neighbor. It didn't matter. The officer shot through the door. Now, if you or I would have done something like that, we would have been arrested.
We would have gone to jail.
At least for gross negligence. We would have been arrested for being...
Or we would have got charged for at least for gross negligence or, reckless endangerment with a firearm.
Well, inappropriate in our action. It reminds me of this case, okay? I want to remind everybody that the incident in a way resembles the Bolton case.
Amber Geiger.
Where Officer Amber Geiger,
Yep.
shot and killed an innocent black man after entering the wrong apartment thinking it was hers.
But it was his apartment.
Thought the black male was an intruder and he was simply eating ice cream on his couch when he was killed. He was not an intruder, not an intentional intruder. I want to remind everyone of a few elements connected to the statutory language.
And we remember what happened in the conclusion of Amber Geiger's case. It went through, I think, a couple months, but she was found guilty, but she only got 5 years.
Of Texas law. In order to commit burglary, you have to qualify a few elements. Number one, it has to be at nighttime.
Yep.
Check.
Check.
Number two, the structure has to be closed. Check.
Check. Number two.
Number three, there must be forced entry.
Forced entry.
No check. And number four, you must be attempting to go in to commit a felony or a crime.
Yep.
No check there either.
None at all.
At least not on record. Not part of the narrative. State officials and Houston police are now investigating an incident where an off-duty Texas state trooper shot his neighbor after allegedly mistaking him for a home intruder. Houston police said the shooting happened shortly after midnight on Monday after a high-rise apartment building in the downtown area. The trooper told police that he was inside his own apartment when he heard someone at his front door trying to break in. Now, breaking in is a legal term of art. Were they trying to open the door or break in? Those are two very different things as the law relates. If the person was trying to open the door, this is possibly a good faith mistake.
Yeah.
If he was trying to break in, that means he was attempting to commit a serious felony.
And usually it just a simple B&E, breaking and entering, that's a misdemeanor. That itself.
So the trooper decided to fire his gun through the door. A bullet struck the man in his right shoulder. First responders found him on a different floor, took him to the hospital. Police said he is expected to survive the wound. In a briefing, police called the man who was shot a suspect and described him as a black man in his 30s, but the building's ownership released a statement clarifying that the burglary suspect in question was actually a resident who lives in the building on a different floor. The company believes it was strictly a case of mistaken identity. I would describe why this is possibly...
And that's where the Amber Geiger case falls in that category as well, too.
True. Police have not identified the shooting victim or the trooper. Details also have not been released on how the victim tried to break in. No details on how he tried to break in to the apartment, but police said there's no evidence that he tried to burglarize nearby apartments. There's also no word on any or if any charges will be filed. We don't know why he was at that apartment, but the initial assessment is that Trooper believed he was trying to break in. That's what the assistant police chief said. Okay? So if he's trying to break in, right? Did he have a crowbar? Did he have a hammer? Did he have a brick? Did he try to kick the door? Was he just turning the doorknob and that's it? You all are considering that an attempted burglary? You know the rules here, officer. You know the elements required statutorily. They don't fit. There's more. The suspect, quote, the suspect, we believe, was trying to get into the apartment. And the trooper did give several commands. How do you know he gave several commands? Do we have the video? Oh, he told you he did. Okay, so you, okay.
He was trying to give several commands. You got proof of that?
Them to get away, and we believe he still tried to make entry. Why do you believe that? Is that what the man who is shot and still alive said to you? Of course not. Why are you taking the narrative of the person who pulled the trigger rather than the narrative of the individual who got shot?
Oh, I'll tell you why. Because the individual who made the shot is a police officer. So, yeah, we're going to believe a police officer any day of the week before we believe a civilian. See? That's how it usually works. Oh, yeah, because you're going to get the thin blue line. Oh, we're going to believe anybody that's wearing the blue. Uh-huh.
Lives in the apartment, who the apartment complex obviously has some relationship with, to where they believe he would never do anything like this, so they released a statement contrary to yours. There's more. Local news outlet ABC 13 spoke with one of the residents who requested anonymity and said that the hallways on each floor look so similar that it's easy for residents to mix up which floor is their own at times. I think the apartment ownership knew this as well. That's why they released the statement so quickly. I tried to use my key on the unit that's one floor above the neighbor's head. In other words, the neighbor is saying, I've made the same mistake here. It's pretty easy to do here because every floor, every hallway looks pretty much the same, the resident said. It still doesn't make me feel great that potentially in the case of myself going to the wrong floor, using my key in the wrong apartment, I just don't want that happening to me. The Houston Police Department and the Texas Rangers are still investigating the incident. When the reporter posed the question about, could this be a situation where an individual may have been bewildered? Is that possible? We're looking into that. Looking into it. Why was that not part of your narrative, your commentary? Why are you not waiting until all of the evidence is in before making conclusive statements like, the officer gave commands. He told the man to leave. The man did not leave. And after the man tried to gain entry after that, he decided to shoot. See, that's what the officer told him. We're going to follow this story. Obviously, there will be developments. I want to hear from the man who got shot.
That 10 and 1. They're going to sit there saying, oh, we're going to do an internal investigation. And they'll come back with a couple weeks or a month. Well, after Internal Revenue investigating, we've investigated and believe our officer did no wrong. It was all justifiable. That's what they say time and time again. Cops playing 1-on-1. That's it. I'm out here. My job. Peace out.